Your last chance against the Lakers didn't go exactly the way you guys had planned. What can you take from that game into this game, or anything, or is that something you just kind of flush and move on?
It's the Lakers.
Short and sweet. Doug, what did you see last night that you want to carry over? And I know you've been impressed with like Dylan Cardwell's play, and in particular, maybe you could go in a little bit to your thoughts on just what you're seeing from him.
The level of physicality. One of our key tenets is definitely the physicality, the multiple efforts, and then the responsibility of playing good basketball and finishing good basketball with quarters and different things like that. I really liked what I saw in that regard. The competition level was extremely high, and they play with joy. That's a big one for me. So with Dylan, he plays with joy. So I really enjoy coaching him, but also watching him and experiencing the Dylan Cardwell experience, because it is that. His willingness to be coached and take in information is really high level. Whether me and him sit and watch film, or he just comes up to me and is like, "Coach, what you got for me today?" Like something. And whether we're talking about the little things of screening angles, timing in, running out, chesting the ball, rebounding with two hands. I didn't really have to tell him that. But and then the way that he sprints in the screens to create space that creates the advantage once the screen is set. And he sets really good screens. His communication on defense, and his fearlessness with his level of physicality, and not trying to be friends with the team, with the opposition. A1.
Doug, when we saw you in L.A. back in December, pregame, you referenced a tunnel incident, I guess. And
why you be bringing up old stuff?
Perhaps you brought it up, and then perhaps a little foreshadowing, right? We get a modern-day tunnel incident after the game. In baseball, sometimes like there'll be a carryover from one game to another in a series where a pitcher will plunk a guy. My question to you is it something that you address with your guys, or is that an edge carried over if a guy wants to set a hard screen in the name of Dennis Schroeder? Is that an okay thing that could occur tonight?
Listen, we're going to play with an edge as long as I'm sitting here. So that's just what it is. That doesn't have anything to do with anything, but Dennis is with us, period. So he's one of us. If we one go, we all go. Or that's how it is. Yeah.
Doug, you brought up last night wanting to have Neek and Malik and DeMar, multiple ball handlers on the floor at the same time. With Neek specifically, how have you seen him become more comfortable in that role of having the ball in his hands and operating through him a little bit more?
Trying to, I guess the word is ease. When he went to his run, I gave the ball to Malik, and he gravitated to it as well, but allowed him to meaning Neek, to kind of flow. And then I was very specific when I wanted him to handle the ball. I called the play, so he knew precisely what he was going to do. There will be a graduation of that to where he give him a couple plays, like here's two, your choice. And then now we begin to go down the path of where it happens. When he grabs the rebound, don't look around, unless there's the advancement of the basketball, like you play the right way. But that is how I think that we can go down the path of him being, a semi-primary ball handler and having the responsibility of initiating the offense. But I thought he did a hell of a job last night with the moments that he was put in there. But he'll make mistakes, man. And we're going to live with his mistakes, and we're going to coach him and watch him grow and water him like a flower and pull all the weeds out. Yeah.
Hey, Doug, you're two bigs. You're two young bigs. I know you got to coach everybody the same, but they're such different styles of players. How has that process been for you to sort of dig in and try to figure out how to develop each of them differently?
Yeah, you hug them the same. But, you know, when Max got out there and he was thrust into that, you weren't really sure about what you were going to get, but watching them develop. So Max, communication, like verbal, high-level communication, trying to watch him gain the physicality. And I always use the Adams reference, where the first time he played him, he held him off with one hand and grabbed the ball with the other, and then I watched Max do it a game or two later, and I was like, oh, wow, okay, he learned something. Talking about the screening angles with him just as well as Dylan. Him learning how to play in the pocket, it didn't take long. That is a beautiful touch that he has in the pocket. And then his ability to, put it down and make another play. With Dylan, it's a little different because I think he was probably more NBA ready from the physicality standpoint and being sent to do something like go rebound, set hard screens, run the floor, scream when you dunk that, here we go. And, I mean, that's just who he is. Now, the development, you've seen a little push shot. He did finger roll one that came up short. But the point is, like, you can see how they both develop. And they help each other because it's like a yin and yang. Where one might be a little devoid, the other one is stepping in and handling that. So a lot of fun to be around them and coach them and work with them and watch them grow when you tell them something and then you watch them try to do it in a real game is like it's pretty impressive. Yeah.
Doug, something like offensive rebounding last night, I mean, fantastic all the way across the board. Not just Dylan, who was tremendous, and that's against the best offensive rebounding team in the league. Is this something that you're hoping starts to like stick and carry over? Because when it's a focus because a team's good at it, you're going to focus more in on it. But it looks like it could be a real strength.
Yeah, well, for us, I mean, coming into the season, thinking possession game. We talked about 94 feet, and if you're going to play 94 feet, you're trying to turn people over and create opportunities for yourself on the defensive side of the ball. But then there's also the ability to get offensive rebounds. So if you're able to do both of those things, you win a possession game, you're going to have more possessions because I'm getting some from you when steals, and then I'm gaining some from offensive rebounds. The offensive rebounding ability of Dylan and Max and they're still kind of trying to go get it. There's the tip out aspect that will improve upon. But, against a team like that with physical guys like that, it was really impressive. And, they just have to keep working. It's going to be a work in progress.
Nick on for some really songs this year. He had one last night that he didn't quite get. Is that something you'd like to see, or are there times where you'd like to see him pull back and maybe take it out there? Or I wonder what your take is when he's trying.
No, because I would be wrong because who are we playing? Oh, Shannon, help me. We were playing somebody, and he turned the corner. And as a player, I had that moment, and I turned and I said, oh, boy. And I yelled from the side, I said, you go test him. You have to. It's a rite of passage. You got to go in there, and it might not go well, but then it might. By him doing that, all the rest of those things happen. But if he never does that, then he turns for the floater and all the soft stuff, and we want him to attack because that's what he can do. Now, once he does that and demonstrates that, the game begins to open up for him. So, swing for the fences, and then we'll get some singles.
Doug, you mentioned a minute ago talking about Dylan not being friends with the opposition, and you've said that like time and time again. Is that and do you think the game has changed over the years? Like, and maybe it's the AAU stuff where these guys know each other from a real young age, and like, is that something that you've kind of observed over the years? Has that changed the game? Is that something you're not real fond of? Just kind of how you're built?
I mean, yeah, pretty much. said it and answered it. I listen, when we compete and we get at each other, it didn't matter if it was my best friend or whatever it is. I'm trying to rip his head off and get it. What are we here to? We're here to win, right? That's the point. We're here to compete at a high level and get after it. We can be friends after, if the way I touch you still allows, me hitting you and stuff like that allows you to be like, oh, that's my friend. And if not, well, and we need a team full of that. So, yeah, I think, it's a little bit more friendly. But, there's different styles too, and styles makes fights. So we're looking for our style to punch you in the face and be beautiful at the same time. I love beautiful basketball, passing and cutting. We played that way, so that's what we want. Yeah, definitely.
Talk about a little bit about Max and wanted to know how they complement each other really well. Just kind of, my question is really, ever see it where they might.
Absolutely, yeah. Max has the ability to make. Actually, Dylan in the pocket when he catches it, if he doesn't have it, he jump stops and he sprays the basketball. So that's a big thing. But Max's ability to pump fake at the 3-point line, put the ball on the deck, get inside, uphill DHO. I mean, both of them need to continue to develop in the DHO area and be comfortable in handoffs. But I totally think that there's a time as far as we continue to improve as a team, working with two bigs offensively, because there's a continuity and a spacing thing and all of that I'm sure you guys have all wrote about, but we gonna go through. You got to go through the hard times to get to that. They have to learn. One's up, one's down. I roll, I space, I read, I talk, I catch it. I don't have it. I uphill DHO. If I'm really feeling myself tonight, I shoot it. And coach is like, okay, there's one. Now let's go to the next action. So that's a process. But I think that both of them can complement each other at the same time, and both of them are really big. So that's a good thing. Yep, appreciate it.